Next speaker is currently with a business radio station, BFM. And of course, she's been in communications for a long time, a moderator, an MC, as well has experience in TV. She's also the author of 5 books, and she's here to share with us on consistency, the name of the game, leveraging on online media. So now, if you will, please join me as we welcome the one and only Freda Liu!
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you. A lot of friends here, a lot of people that I've had sitting on the other side of the studio. So anyway, a real honor to be invited here to be part of the Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers. I can't remember, have I paid my membership? I always have to ask, is membership due? Okay, and I'm like, I don't. So I guess if I'm invited, that I know membership is still valid. I am the last person today because, and all the good topics have been taken. I had a conversation with Sharma and said, so what can we talk about, right? And then so we were saying, what about this topic? What about this topic? What about this topic? Said, take it. And then Sharma was saying, why don't you talk about this thing, consistency? Because we had a chat about this, and it was just, a conversation. I've known Sharma for a long time. Yes.
Not that long.
Okay, it's the last century, right? Now, it is the last century. Yeah, so I just want to share a little bit about this topic because I think it's really valid. Sometimes, especially, I don't know, are there any Gen Ys here? I won't even go. Okay, true enough. True enough. Yeah, I see a little bit. Okay, yeah, I see a little bit more experienced audience. I was thinking that if there were younger ones, right? I think this is very important as well as you're building up your career. So I'll have to give a little bit about background for those who don't know me. There are a couple of people who are here. So I started out my career working for a PR consultancy. And also, then I worked there for a couple of years, and then I worked for a multinational, worked for IBM for over 10 years. And then how that led to working for BFM. You're thinking, how did that happen, right? Working PR in IBM and then moving on to radio. Before that, I was also a news reader, news presenter on TV and on radio. And hence, when an opportunity like BFM came about, I have to give credit, when that opportunity came about, it married both the skills that I had, right? And so when people, and of course over the course of the last 10 years, right, I've really looked at my career and where I wanted to go from there. So yes, I do a lot of MC work, the money's there. I do, speaking is something new, moderating, and it was a decision that I always wanted to be in business. It's something like a business station. So when BFM came about, it was a 30% pay cut from that safe, secure job in IBM. But it was something that really resonated with me, and it was an area I wanted to be in. I didn't want to join a music station because I didn't see, and no offense if anybody's from a music station, that's fine, but I just didn't see the future or the long-term interest in that. So it's been over 25 years, we're talking 1993 when I started. So always had, for those who speak Malay, hashtag dua kerja, right? For those who don't speak Malay, it means I've always had 2 jobs or more, right? And sometimes we take for granted hard work, right? Or work, right? It's not hard work, but it was, when I was reading the news, it was over the weekend, right? When most people were having their dinners on Saturdays, but this is what you do, right? Because the weekdays was working in a regular job. So the reason I want to talk about this is because it's been a journey, right? And when I talk about consistency, it's just something that how life has changed, how things have changed. We now have social media and online media. How do you leverage on it? And sometimes we feel inundated. No, do we feel inundated with all these new tools? And you know what I mean? Like, what do we do right now? And I get it, right? And I get it. And you try, and you're thinking, should I be this or should I be that? And I've got Sarah here, who is my manager. And this is where I feel that I needed help, right? Because there's only so much I can do, and if I want to take things to the next level, right, I need to be able to outsource certain things. That is one thing that I feel that then I can focus on what my key strengths are. So the last 10 years have been really eventful for me, has been really meaningful for me on where I want to take it, right? So I just want to share some thoughts, right? There are no secrets, right? It's a tale as old as time, I would like to say. And people forget, yeah, this one. this whole idea called delayed gratification, right? You know, who's been in this space for, you know, whether it's speaking or training, you know, more than 5 years, 10 years, or, you know, right? You know, so it is, if people know you for doing something, okay, I would say that people will know me as being in communication, right? So I've been, like I said, on the client side, I've been on the consultancy side, I've done journalism, right? Journalism from, I do write as well. I've done, you know, so, and it's like you've done the gamut. I've done the gamut of what it takes. So people sometimes forget this whole 25 years, right? The story of overnight success, right? Takes over, yeah, you know, it takes, you know, it takes time. You know, everything takes time. The corn doesn't grow overnight, right? So this is a corn that is still growing, right? An oak tree that's still growing, right? And so when you look at what you're doing right now, it's sometimes the simplicity of things and just understanding the basics in life, right? And we sometimes feel like, but you know, and online media puts this pressure on us, right? To be able to do something very quickly because you think everyone else is doing it, right? Don't get caught up with what's up there. I think be true to who you are. Okay, it takes time. The fundamentals don't change. I feel that even though I love the work that I do with the radio station, it is very meaningful to me. We cover technology, we cover new businesses, it keeps me current, it keeps me understanding how people think, right? And the willingness to learn, the willingness to change, the willingness to find out what's going on. And like I said, you know, the fundamentals don't change in things, right? And it's about these principles, and maybe this is a good way to just, you know, end off knowing that these things, you know, take time, right? You have to be willing to disrupt yourself, okay? You have to be, and evolve. And for me, it was just like, what do I do next, right? Ever since I started with, you know, like even with the day job in a consultancy, like what else can I do, right? Okay, it was news reading, it was something new. I tried lecturing, right? Just because I wanted to experience speaking, right? I tried children's storytelling. That's a tough crowd. You want to talk about a tough crowd? Children. Telling stories to children because they're bored, they will tell you there and then, right? There's no hiding it, there's no politeness in it. So you know, so this is, what is it, you know? So it's just like learning new skills, you know, emceeing, moderating. It still gives me the nerves. I still want to be able to like learn and do these things. So are you willing to disrupt and evolve, evolve, right? There's going to be a new tool, right? There's, you know, I'm going to talk about some of the tools like you got Snapchat, you got all these things, right? What do I do? You know, where do I put myself? Do I spread myself thin and do everything, right? And you have to be part of this journey with people, right? So when we talk about the days before online media, it was so easy just to talk about there's print, there's TV, there's radio. It was so simple where you could control everything. But things have now changed. But then when people look at you and people search you and everything, is there consistency in who you are, right? So always, you know, be willing to disrupt yourself. So even like I said, I was doing that. I was learning the next thing. So like I've taken courses in coaching, training with Jonathan. You know, I've done, you know, NLP. I've done all these things. A lot of it is just from my knowledge. And a lot of things is, how will it help me in my work? How will it help me to be a better person? I don't know if these are career changes or not. I've tried pole dancing. That's not a career change. You know, 4 lessons. When does it become sexy? Not so soon. All right. Okay. Stop while you're ahead. Okay. So, but it's just also just like I said, you know, just to test yourself, because it's a completely different skill, and you're gonna learn to rewire that brain, right? And have new neurons forming in there, right? And then at the same time, hopefully, work on the core. So yeah, the last 10 years have been really evolutionary for me. And one of the more difficult things that I had to do was to write my first book, right? So I'm on to my 5th book, and the first book was on PR. And that was having spoken to a lot of businesses, especially in Malaysia, who are very shy to come on air. Or they come on air one time and then you never hear from them again, right? So it's like, you know, we have lots of great stories, great Malaysian business stories that do not get told because we don't know how to publicize ourselves. I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about organizations. That was the first book that I wrote. Then after that, I look at collaboration, right? How do I work with Chris Tan, who's very known, he's also a speaker known in the property area, property lawyer. So then how can we work together where we have same kind of target audience, right? The same kind of target audience, but different target audience. But how then do we leverage on this where it's, and that's where I came up with the book, Shakespeare Business. So the Romeo and Juliet way, right? So he gives the male perspective, I give the female perspective. And leveraging on my strengths and what I know, then the book before the current book was called Bursting Fixed Mindset. So this is my connection with women entrepreneurs that I meet. These are women who have achieved over the #1 million ringgit mark because, you know, and what their mindset was. And it was something that's also that resonates with me. And how they thought, right? I wanted to learn from them. And of course, the last book is a little bit more personal about how we need to get comfortable in our skin, right? And the book is called In Your Skin. And that was a lot more personal. I've got ideas. I've got, I don't know if you all know George Abling. He's a good friend of mine. He's always egging me on to write something else. He's got a book title for me. I've got to write the contents. He's got a book title. So how do you then get uncomfortable? How do you disrupt? How do you evolve? I don't know what happens after this. That's why I've got a talent management company here who tells me, you got to do this, you got to do this. She's really fierce. Okay. If you all don't know her, she's this gorgeous Sarah. Yeah. Okay. Hi Sarah. Okay, so upskill, reskill. Are you willing to invest in yourself? And this is something that I want to do. This is something I want to say. I've been wanting to do. I haven't gotten around to it. I want to learn design thinking. I don't know what it entails. I did some initial research, and I don't know what to do next. But this is just like, I don't know how it connects, right? But it just resonates with me, and I want to see like how then. And maybe the puzzles will come in later, right? But this is just something that I want to take further, right? Beyond the radio station. And I find that because I'm able to find joy in other things, in other areas of my life, that I'm able to find joy in the work that I do, right? Knowing that when I finish, there's something, you know, you have a full life, complete life, almost, okay. Choose your weapon, okay? This is where, or weapons, this is where I talk about, if you talk about online media, right? What works for you, right? So last year, I found that, you know, I'm sure you're all also very active on LinkedIn, right? Who's very active on LinkedIn? Jonathan is. The one, okay, we're very clever, right? I'll show you later how clever they are in terms of marketing. And it was just last year that I decided to be, you know, a little bit more aggressive in LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn is where the target audience is for me. Anyway, so and I decided to do that. And who knows, something else might come along, and you have to do this, right? It will work for you if you are very clear about who, and the hashtags are important. These are all tactics, right? But you have to understand the strategy behind it. All these things are tactics, right? And the reason why you want to do it, okay? So where is your target audience? My target audience, so I get called a lot to do MC and moderation work for a lot of the big companies here because of the brand that I'm working with, BFM, right? But then I have to think, you know, what happens after this, right? Last year, before we had a new government, we were very close to probably losing our license. Yeah, you know, and it's you, okay, change in government, right? If you all know BFM, we always get noticed. So, and so that's the thing, right? Thinking like, what's next for your own growth, right? And for your own personal development. So, where's the target audience? How did I get there? I have no idea. Are you reaching out to new markets? Now, one of the things who's active on Instagram as a business? Not bikini shots, because if you want to find your bikini shots, that's on Instagram. Okay, you okay? I'll give you my details later. So that's so no bikini shots on LinkedIn. Okay, that doesn't go with my business strategy. But and maybe I will, right? If you look at certain Instagram accounts, some people have used it actively as a business thing. I still haven't worked out a strategy with Sarah. I said, like, you know, I just give me that space where I can just be me. And the thing is that when people search, that's me as well. But what I put on LinkedIn is the professional side of things, right? So but reaching out to new markets, if I have to reach out to a target audience, a younger target audience, a different kind of target audience, then do I look at different tools, right? To benefit, right? To benefit me. So think about where your target audience is. I find that for me, my target audience by default, because I'm a woman, I get called to do women empowerment stuff, which I do enjoy, which I do believe in. I said, okay, I've been asked to do a lot of these things. Do I strongly believe in it, right? And that's important. And do I have a message to say? And if I have a message to say, then fine, right? Don't chase after the dollar if it's not something that you believe in, right? So, but it's something that I do believe in. I love how with this event, I'm seeing an equal mix of men and women. The speakers that we have, kudos to the Max team for doing this. You have an equal mix of men and women. So, well done to the Max team, right? So, it's little things like, so reaching out to new markets, okay? Experiment with one new thing, right? If it's just one thing that you do, and so like last year, it was just focusing on LinkedIn. That was me, just focusing on LinkedIn. I do Facebook, I do all that as well, and you know, you have a way of doing this so that it connects to everything, right? It connects to Twitter, it connects to and all that. Oh, okay, thank God for technology. But if I were to put a focus, right? And when I'm on LinkedIn as well, it's not just you'll see me later, I'll post Freda speaker. But I also share articles, I also write articles, I also share podcasts. So be of value wherever you are, right? Be of value, be a resource, you know, and the idea, I guess, is to position yourself as a subject matter expert, right? But also, I think really be of value. So I get called to do a lot of things, and sometimes if it's educating the younger, being a mentor for the younger, yes, you know, and it really resonates back with my brand, I'm gonna believe it as well with what they're doing. Like I said, not everything is dollar and cents, but my time is limited, yeah? So I don't know, again, like, and that's why I need to, you know, bounce off ideas with someone younger, right? And a whole team of people, and think about where do I want to take this? Because sometimes you alone, right? And then the group of people that you have of a certain mindset, of a certain age group, you have to be able to talk to people who are in a different space, so that you also change your perspectives on things, right? Because we are people who are just sort of fixed in our ways. That's human nature. We don't like change. But then, what do I need to do to change? And again, don't be so caught up with I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, right? And just one thing, and maybe, I don't know, second half of the year or next year, let's look at Instagram, right? A little bit more professionally. I don't know, right? Because I still need my outlet where I'm just like, whatever, you know, with my gin and all that. So, you know, so that's you know, this is the package deal. Okay. So anyway, so there you go. Jonathan, Rohit, who else? Okay, who is still here, was also featured in the 100 most inspirational. Bhavani, of course. And so it's like, hey, this is a nice piece of advice, you know, a nice piece of news, right? And they were, I think last year they had 50, so this year now they have 100. Very clever, because 100 people will share with everybody else, right? And then it's like, you know, clever. But hey, why not, right? So this is not something that I had aspired to do. This is not something that I wanted to do, but hey, why not, right? And you leverage on it. And this is the place, and I want to be noted. I didn't even know there's such a thing, but oh well. Okay, to close, my mama always said, see, that was Mother's Day on Sunday. Some couple, you know, life is like a box of chocolates. No, create your own. I always feel that that's what keeps me sane. That's what keeps me rooted. That's what keeps me humble. Yes, you can create your own press, but don't believe it. Okay, remember that. Okay, you can create your own press, and then you do the shots, do the what, but don't believe it. You know what I mean? And I mean, when I say don't believe it, I'm just saying, like, just remain humble. Just remain. I'm very blessed to be where I am right now, and I know that things have happened in my way. Some of it is definitely divine. You know, it's not my own doing that this has helped me. So yes, you have the ability, you have the know-how. Do this, right? Do this. It's consistency. It's about understanding the algorithms when people search for you and the hashtags and all that. So you do all these things, but also remember, don't stay humble. Okay, stay humble. Be authentic. You do you. Okay, just stay true to who you are. I mean, there have been many times when, like I said, like I didn't join the music station because I didn't see the future in it, and I've always wanted to be like an interviewing style thing, like a business thing. not knowing that the station like BFM would have opened 10 years ago. That was the very thing, that was the very vision that I had of wanting to do something like that, not understanding. But it really resonated for me to join this startup with no proven track record, could fail, and yet, but it was something that I totally believed in. So I think at the end of it, be authentic in all that you do, right? Because people can smell the BS. Right, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. People can smell the BS after a while. If not this year, 5 years, 10 years, people can smell the BS, right? So, so the friendships that I have, like I say, from primary school to right now, they pretty much know this is it. This is me, right? This is me. Of course, you want to change to be a better person, but at the core of it, right, be authentic. People appreciate that. People know that you can, and people love. There is strength in vulnerability. There is strength when you fail and you get up again, right? And this is what we need to hear right now, anyway, right? Okay, not bad. There is enough for everyone. We all have to carve our own niche, right? I love this guy called Daniel Priestley. Have you all heard of him? Becoming a key person of influence, right? And understanding being that micro niche, right? The micro niche of where that space is, right? Because we try to be everything to everybody. If I want to say, Jonathan is the customer service guy, right? That's it. I mean, that, of course he does other things as well, but that's the story I always remember with him, right? We also go back a long way. So what's your niche? And build from there. And of course, like I say, be authentic. Your niche has got to be something that is so true to you. So we don't know the evolution of Freda Liu. I think it all connects, right? It all connects. Who knows? Design thinking. You all can find out and let me know where to take courses. Okay. Yep. So you can find me. Everything is the Freda Liu. The website is getting upgraded as I speak. Yeah. So bikini shots. Go to Instagram. Thank you.